Hi, I'm Shona Vertue, and this is a bike, and I'm holding this bike in an effort to communicate to you that this yoga sequence is for cyclists. Now, I promised you guys this video such a long time ago, and I'm sorry that it's taken me so long to get it to you. The reason that I wanted to share a yoga sequence specifically for cyclists is because, well, I live in London and there's a lot of you around. The other reason I wanted to do this is because I think that you guys have very, very specific needs because you get tight in very specific places, particularly through the quadriceps, the muscles at the front of the thighs, the hip flexors, yes, the hamstrings, but really we need to try and sort out the whole anterior part of your body, so the front of you, because when you're on a bike, obviously you're rounded forward and your quads just have to do so much work to push you forward. I realized that sentence was not as meaningful as I hoped it would be. Of course, you need your quads to help you push forward. Nothing too profound about that statement. That was the bike, not my butt. Anything else I wanted to say? If you are a cyclist, be it a hobby or something that you do morning and evening to and from work, then I would highly recommend making this video a consistent practice in your daily routine, if not at least weekly routine. So without further ado, let's get on with it. Now I'm gonna put this bike back. So let's just come down to sit on the floor, take the hands behind you, and just start to move the legs from side to side, okay? So the key thing that we want to do here is just notice the tension of our hips. I want you to, as best as possible, almost keep the pelvis as still as you can. Not completely still, but just not letting it roll, like your butt roll off the floor. So just finding this sort of stillness here and noticing like how much internal and external rotation you have in the legs. Now, normally internal rotation, which is when this one side drops inwardly, so the femur is rotating internally rather than externally, we tend to it's a sort of neglected movement. And it's because we don't really need to do it that much, but it's important to still have mobility and range in that sort of space, because sometimes we get stuck in extension, and that's when our hips feel really tight. If you think about the way the glute works, we get stuck, turned out. So I want to give you this sort of movement through both variations, both internal and external. So what I want you to do first is just notice, okay, so right leg batted internal rotation, is the left leg tight at external, or is it the other way around? And while we also do this, we're just lubricating the joint a little, the hip joint. Okay, so it might not feel like you're doing much, but I promise we're just sort of bringing a little bit of blood to that area. Okay, I'm just gonna move this back for a sec. Okay, and then I want you to warm up through the glutes and the back of the legs. So fingers point forward, you're gonna take a breath in, exhale, lift the hips off the floor, and try and feel like you're doing it not just through your arms pushing, but actually your glutes and hamstrings. Coming back down, and then squeezing. Coming down, squeezing. Now chances are if you cycle a lot, and you're doing it properly, you should actually be also activating your hamstrings when you cycle, particularly if you're clipped in, yeah? So that pulling, it's not just the pushing, which works your quad, but also the pulling, which works the hamstring. But that doesn't always happen. It took me I had no idea that when you cycled, you were supposed to be pushing and pulling. And I know that a lot of people that ride on the road a lot probably don't know that. Some people that don't clip in, there's no pulling going on because you're not clipped in. So we've got to warm up the hamstring, get it switched on, and also the glutes. So now we're going to come down to the floor, and you're going to lift your hips off, grab your butt cheeks, just make sure that they're switched on. Arms come back down, roll the spine one vertebra at a time. Exhale, lift up. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, lift up. Inhale, lower down. Just keep doing that for me. Inhaling to lower and exhaling to lift. And even though I know this doesn't seem like we're doing a stretch, we're just getting the muscles to switch on that we want to try to release a little bit. So I want them to switch on, warm them up, so that we can facilitate a bit more of a release and it doesn't feel so cold. So just doing that movement, keeping your core tight as you do it. And lower, hug the knees into the chest. Grab hold of the tops of the knees and you're gonna move them in slightly opposite directions. So one's going clockwise, the other's going anti-clockwise. And I want you to really take the weight of them in your hands. And we'll go the other way. So we're going around, out, out. Yeah, moving in and out. Go again the other way. If you're doing this properly, this should feel amazing because the leg's finally fully submissive. At the hip joint, at the leg, no muscles working, your arms are doing all the work, so you almost feel like a little bit of a rag doll. Okay, and then coming back to center, hugging both knees into the chest. We're gonna rock up, and you're gonna take the hands back behind you into that position. Now, from here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our legs all the way over to the right, yeah? Come forward, and we're gonna end up in what's called a 90-90 stretch. So this leg needs to move back so that it's at a 90-degree angle. This front leg, 90-degree angle. And all we're gonna do is lengthen through the spine, inhale, exhale, come down. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, lift it up. And exhale, bring it down. So you should be starting to feel a bit of a stretch for the right hip. Inhale, and then exhale. Inhale, come up. Now from here, you're gonna bring your right forearm down to the floor. And you're gonna take your left arm so that it's in line with the left leg. We're gonna reach up and take it all the way over, twisting around. Come down, around, up, inhale. Follow the fingertips, exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Hold here, exhale. So you should be feeling this stretch all the way down through the lat, latissimus dorsi, okay? So this big, long kind of bat wing muscle. Okay, come back up to center. Take the hands behind you. Correct the feet. We'll go the other way. So 90-90 facing the other way. So I'm gonna just twist and we're gonna come down. So make sure that your front leg is at that 90-degree angle. So we're coming down, coming up, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Please match it with the breath, guys. I know it sounds like I sound like a broken record, but the breath is what is going to help keep the nervous system in a calm state. And actually, when you exhale, you stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. So just hold this here, and then I'm gonna come back up. And then that left elbow comes down in line with your left side of your hip. Right arm is stacked on top of that right leg. Then we're going up, inhale. So really get that side stretch. Exhale, twist around. The truth is, this sequence, come around, inhale, up and over, isn't just for cyclists, but it is geared towards you guys. I'm trying to, I guess, tackle the areas that are commonly tight in cyclists. Inhale, up and around. And what we're trying to deal with first is the sort of fascia all around the hips, the lower back, the quadriceps. Once we release those areas, we make it a lot easier to kind of delve deeper. Too many people I see rush straight into the most intense stretch possible. And the problem with that is that immediately your nervous system will react. Guys, just hold this position, drop the head down. The nervous system will react and it will tense against you. And so we really need to try to relax and calm ourselves down, loosen ourselves slowly, and then from there we can go a little bit deeper, okay? Which is what we will do in a sec. So let's come back up, push, and we'll bring it back to center. From here, I'd like you to cross the right leg over the left, okay? And then bring the heel in a little bit closer, walk your hands forward, drop the head down. Inhale, lift the head up. So we back out of it. Exhale, drop in. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. This one we hold. So really keep pushing in, but the whole time I really need you to stay as calm as possible. You do not approach a yoga, stretch, mobility session in the same way that you would approach a workout. We're not trying to kind of push it and go hard, no pain, no gain, right? Release that, go the other side. So cross, bring the foot in. The closer your heel is, closer your hands are, the more intense this is going to be. Okay, so just find the position that's right for you. Don't go too intense too quickly. There's plenty of time for us to build the intensity here. Okay, so breathe in, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. This time we hold, guys. Relax the face, the jaw, the mouth, everything. Come back up. Release it down, feet flat, lift up through the chest here. Cross the legs in, take the hands forward, come into child's pose. So I want you to bring the feet together, take the knees out nice and wide, push the hips to the heels, and let your arms just stretch forward. So notice the sensation when you come into this position. Where are you feeling it the most? Is it your lower back? Is it your hips, your butt? Is it your knees? Is it your toes? We just want to pay attention. The whole yoga practice should always be a self-body assessment. Finding out what patterns are developing in your pain, what patterns are developing in your movement, in your tension, in your strengths as well. And then from there, we start to work towards understanding ourselves more so that we can, I guess, adjust the practice accordingly. Okay, so from here, take one more deep breath in. Full breath out. Okay, from here, come forward, all fours, tuck the toes, press back, bent knee, downward dog for me, guys. So keep the knees nice and bent and just walk out through the heels, open up through the back of the legs, shake out your head, yes and no. So we're not going to spend too much time on the hamstrings because that's never really a cyclist's problem, is tight hamstrings. Unless, of course, like I said, you're doing the pulling as well, in which case you can watch another video and I'll post that soon specifically for the hamstrings, okay? But in the meantime, just pumping out those legs, we're gonna work more through the front of the body. So what you're gonna do is lift the right leg up nice and high, swing the knee forward, bring it in between the hands. If it doesn't make it all the way, grab your ankle. We're gonna come down to the floor and we're gonna just lift up into a lunge position here. So what I'd like you to do, there's a couple of things I'm gonna go over. Normally when you go into a yoga class and you take a lunge, you'll kind of come into this position here where your back is really bent. But what I'd like you to do here is modify it. So shorten the length of your lunge, tuck your tailbone as much as possible. Don't let your spine make this easier on your hip flexor. In fact, I'm just gonna swap legs so that you can see what I'm doing. So if I make it easier on my hip flexor, yeah, the muscle at the front here, I bend my back, can't feel anything. Now, if I just really subtly tuck my tailbone, that then pulls on this part. So we want to lengthen the lower back and stretch through the front, the anterior part of the body, okay? Then start to shift that weight forward and ooh, now I can actually feel it. Now I can't. So it's really subtle. You're gonna take that right arm up and then twist it over to the side. Come down, take it up, take it over to the side. I'm just gonna adjust this mat slightly actually, because it's quite a thin mat that I'm working on. So tucking, reaching up, exhale. So don't feel the temptation, we're not coming down into this. This again loses the stretch because now my psoas isn't stretching at all, right? It tucks in and it's like, I'm safe here. So we wanna make sure we're creating that stretch here. Reach it up, take it over, and down. Last one, up, over, and down. Take that hand to the floor, lift the back knee off. From there, take the right arm, left arm up towards the ceiling, twist. Okay, look back down, step it back to down dog. Walk out through the heels. So let's go the other side. Left leg lifts up, bring it forward. Oh, wait, hang on. I need to do this side now, don't I? Okay, so whatever side you did first, you just swap it now. Okay, so tucking that mat if your knee feels a little bit uncomfortable. So coming up and not going into this position, but tucking the tailbone, keeping the rib cage closed, and then sinking forward, finding that tension on the front of the hip. Then we go left arm up and over, or right arm, depending on the side you're doing. Feel that stretch, take it down. Inhale up and over, take it down. Up, over, down, last one, up, over. Enjoy that stretch all the way through the obliques as well, and then the hand comes down, back leg lifts off, we take the right arm up or the left arm, depending on which side you're doing. Hand comes back down, step back, downward facing dog, walk out through the heels, open up through the back of the legs. Okay, walk the feet up to the hands, unroll all the way up to standing. So now we're gonna take a breath in, stretch up, exhale, our chair positioning, okay? So chair and cushion. Now, this is basically just intensifying what we just did. Now, the cushion is there to protect your knee. The chair is there to really keep you honest with your quads stretch, okay? So you'll notice I put my foot up on the chair, my knee is down on the floor, and this heel is close to my butt. I'm tucking my tailbone as much as I possibly can. So now it's not so much in the front of the hip, it's actually in the quadricep. Okay, so we're gonna take that arm up and just hold it here. So more of a static stretch. You can move and shift your hips forward and back to play with where you need to. Twisting ever so slightly around, depending on which side you're doing. Because I'm doing my right leg, I'm gonna twist over slightly to the left and find those tight spots in the quad. And we're just gonna breathe here. You can place both hands on that front leg and just hold, stretching into the quad. Obviously, I'm relatively flexible in the quadriceps, so I'm gonna just move into a few different variations that make it a little bit more intense for me. You'll notice I'm leaning back. I'm tucking my tailbone the whole time though. I'm not going into a big back bend. I wanna keep that tuck so that I get that quad stretch, okay? Take one more deep breath in. Full breath out. Hands come down, we swap sides. So tucking the foot up onto the chair, stepping down. This side is just so much tighter for me. So I'm gonna lift my chest, tuck my tailbone. I can already feel a really intense stretch. Please pay attention to the left and right sides. Don't assume that just because you're flexible on the right side that you're gonna be in the same position on the left. So I'm gonna reach up, twist slightly, keeping that tailbone tucked. I can't stress enough that if that tailbone is not tucked, you're gonna really lose the point of this, okay? So keeping it tucked, reaching up and over. We're working up to our peak pose, which is really quite an intense quad stretch. And I'd really like you to warm into it with this one. I'm gonna lean back. We're gonna take one more breath here. If anyone wants to take this variation at home, feel free. Coming forward. Okay. So I'll let you stand up and just feel that one. My quads are nowhere near the size or the strength of a regular cyclist, but I've been trying to work on them recently, so they are definitely feeling quite tight. So this bad boy is gonna be fun. Now, this is a really deep quad stretch. So you're coming down to the floor. And what you're gonna do, I'm gonna show you on the right side first. I'm gonna shift my weight over to the right side. I'm gonna grab hold of my right foot and pull it in as close as I can. So my toes are now tucked on the floor. Now from here, I'm gonna start to lean back. So I'm on the cushion, lifting the hip and tucking the tailbone. Okay, that tuck is so key. Now, this might be super intense for some of you. You're feeling it through the front of the foot, which is good. You're feeling it all the way up through the front of the shin. Again, that's possibly where you need to feel the stretch. Maybe you're feeling it through the front of the quad, okay? And if this is already intense for you, stay right there. I'm gonna go a little bit deeper because I can. I'm gonna come right down to the floor. The whole time what I have to be really careful of is that my back doesn't come off into this big arch and try to cheat. Okay, so the whole time I'm really trying to flatten out my back. I'm gonna take it even further by stepping the foot up, and then even further again, possibly grabbing hold of that right foot. Please don't let the left, not grabbing hold of my right foot, grabbing hold of my left knee. Please don't let your right knee pop off the floor here, okay? So Make sure that it stays down. Tailbone is tucked. We're going to close the eyes, and together we're going to take 3 deep breaths. What I'd like you to focus on with these breaths are remaining as calm as possible. So inhale here. Full exhale. Let's go again. Inhale. Full exhale. Empty the lungs. Last one. Inhale. And exhale. Okay. So, how are we gonna get out of this? What you're gonna do is roll onto your side, kick the foot out, and then hug it in towards the chest, okay? So kick it up a couple of times. You've really released that front quad. What we're gonna do is we're gonna maximize on that mobility that we got on that right side. We're gonna come straight into pigeon. So square off the hips, come into your pigeon pose. Yeah, lift up through the chest, and then forearms come down. Breathing here. And then we've got to do the other side. So feet like this. Shift over to the side, pull the heel in, bring the knee down. So remember, keep that left heel nice and close, tuck the tailbone. And then from here, if you need to go onto your cushion, go ahead. If you feel like you can come all the way down, go ahead. But remember, left and right side, they're not necessarily gonna be the same. We're not trying to force any kind of symmetry onto the body. We're just trying to listen in and release what we can, okay? Symmetry is an interesting concept because actually the whole human body is asymmetrical. So striving for symmetry in our flexibility can sometimes actually be potentially damaging. And it's something that I'm going to go through more and more over the course of my videos and my channel. But for now, I just want you to let go of this concept of striving for symmetry right now, because actually we need to be careful with what we do. We need to be careful with pushing. When it comes to strength, it's a different thing. I do want both your left and your right leg to have stability and equal strength. In terms of mobility, we need to just pull back a little, because it's a bit more dangerous to be trying to like yank and stretch muscles into positions when sometimes we're fighting against, you know, the positioning of our bone, like our bone structure. Might not necessarily need to be trying to increase mobility in that area. I went on a rant there, but anyway, hopefully you're focusing on the breath and still focusing on the yoga. So take another deep breath in. Full breath out. Relax the shoulders, face, eyes, everything. Roll into your side. Kick the leg out. Let's come straight up. We'll go straight into pigeon. Yeah, so swing that leg around. Lift up through the chest. Take a breath in. So feeling a stretch through the front there as well. Yeah, pigeon is not just for this front leg. It's actually for the back leg as well. And then come down. Close your eyes, relax your face. Try and relax as much as possible through the body here. Take a deep breath in. Release a full breath out. Again, inhaling and exhaling. Take one more deep breath in. Full breath out. Come back up to the hands, lift the body, tuck the back toes, and press back into downward facing dog. Let's walk out through the heels here, shake out the head. I'm gonna take you through the vinyasa just to re-energize you. So from here, we're gonna come forward into a push-up position. Core stays nice and tight, belly pulls in. You're gonna lower down, you can drop the knees if you wish, all the way down to the floor. From here, roll the shoulders back, lift into cobra. If you don't have any major lower back issues at the moment, what you can do is push all the way up into upward facing dog. And up dog, everyone always assumes is just a back bend to stretch the spine at the back, but that's not the way a back bend works. The point of a back bend is actually to open up the front of the body. So when you come into this position, what we're actually trying to do is stretch through the front of your hips, through the front of the stomach, yeah, as well as the shoulders and the chest. So if you kind of just come into a position like this, which is what I commonly see of upward dog, you're not doing anything. All you're doing is compressing your lower spine. So instead, you're gonna lift and feel like you're squeezing your glutes and stretching through the base of your stomach. And then from there, pull back, downward dog. So can we do that again? Inhale, come forward, high push-up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, maybe just cobra, or all the way up for up dog. Exhale, press back, down dog. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Bend the knees, walk forward, walk the feet all the way up to the hands, bend at your knees here again. Shake out your head, yes and no, decompress that lower spine, and then very slowly unroll all the way up to standing. As your head lifts, go ahead, reach the arms up, bring the palms together. Exhale, bring the hands back to the heart, relax the shoulders. Well done, guys.